subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to get all the latest updates. Hi everyone, my name is Anita and I welcome you all on Importer Media once again. Today I'm going to be with Dr. Ishitha Kumar, who is currently pursuing her second PhD from Emory University, USA. And I am so excited to welcome her. Hi Ishita, welcome on Importer Media.
I'm extremely happy to be a part of this series, Anita. I'm very happy that you invited me and you thought I'm special enough to be a part of this women's series that you have launched.
So I am equally excited to host you on this series of ours. It's a special feature every year we do, and I'm extremely happy because I found that you are a perfect candidate, a perfect person for this particular series. You have done two bachelors, then your masters, then your first PhD, then you have worked with IIM Bangalore, then you moved to America to do your second PhD in altogether a different area, from aeronautical engineering to finance. My God, how and what kind of superhuman you are. You are a mother and your daughter's name is Anita. So tell me about your journey, how it started and how you are taking it now. Please tell
Yeah,
us.
sure. I've started my aeronautical engineering like everybody else probably in India. Like, you either have to be an engineer or doctor to be successful in life. Otherwise, there's no point in living, right? So, as such, I kind of liked maths from the beginning. I enjoyed doing maths, so it was like kind of very obvious for me to get into engineering. But yes, I wanted to do engineering a little different, so I was always interested either in aeronautics or marine engineering. So ended up in aeronautics. I really loved doing aeronautical engineering. I really liked the subjects. I enjoyed reading them. I enjoyed experiencing those things. At the same time, as I said, I was like, I have always been interested in mathematics. So when I was doing my bachelor's in mathematics, I was doing it along with my bachelor's in engineering. So it was not like I did this and did that. So because I wanted to have that experience with mathematics, I didn't want to let go of it continuously in the middle. Though you do some mathematics in aerospace engineering, it's not like you do mathematics there. You mostly do applied mathematics, and I really wanted to explore the applied mathematics part and mathematics part in more detail. So I had enrolled into an bachelor's in mathematics too, and it was I despite doing maths and applied maths and doing aerospace at the same time, I kind of really, when I say really, I really like doing aeronautical engineering. I kind of enjoyed those that I have done in propulsion stream. So I used to learn about engines, I used to learn about the fuels, and it kind of fascinated me how beautiful those things are. And I really wanted to pursue it, take it further, take it into a next step, learn more about it. So the next obvious step was obviously to get into masters and do aeronautical only because I enjoyed it. So for me, masters, I did my gate. I thankfully got into IIT Madras, and I did not have to waste any time in the middle, or I did not have to think of going into the job. I directly went into the masters at aerospace engineering in IIT Madras. I found a professor with whom I was working. His name is he's now Professor, sorry, Professor P. A. Ramakrishna at IIT
Uh-huh.
Madras. He's a very nice guy. You kind of interact with him. I realized from going from bachelor's to the masters, I realized that the world is much more. It might be like, see, when you are just doing bachelor's and interacting with the teachers, that is like at a very different level altogether. You go into the masters, go to a person who has exposure to lot of different things. I mean, you wouldn't believe it. We used to discuss about Bhagavad Gita in between the research. We used to go talk about research. I used to say results, and then suddenly we used to switch. This is how, and then we used to switch to some Bhagavad Gita, some politics, and we used to debate very vigorously about it. So I enjoyed the time with my professor too. It's just not the subject that like I got this connection with him. He was very encouraging. He used to encourage me to do a lot of things, question a lot of things. That is the first thing. I think I have never been very good at questioning things till I got into masters. The masters I did was actually masters in research. It's not the masters MTech or anything. So I directly went into masters in research. That is when I realized importance of questioning, and the second thing I realized is important of asking the right question. You have to ask a right question because you have to answer that question. You cannot just ask some random question and say, oh, I'm very good at questioning. That is a very important thing that I have learned when I was doing my master. Because I was so fascinated and so happy with my professor, I couldn't stop myself from converting my master's into a PhD. So it was like a single journey for me. Like once I finished my bachelor's and went into that, I just directly got my PhD from IIT Madras in aerospace. I was never planning to switch my career as such, but fortunately and unfortunately, we do not have like lot of opportunities if you are doing aerospace engineering in India. Either you have to go into government and go into these defense labs, especially for me because I specialized in fuels. I specialized in rocket fuels. So for me, the only options if I wanted to still pursue research in my life, which I kind of enjoyed a lot, was to either choose defense organizations or to go into academics. There are not many IITs in India which have aerospace labs, and that too people who would be interested in letting a person who's specialized in a one particular thing like propulsion itself to be part of their universities. So for me, during that time, it was like a stopgap arrangement. I went into IIM Bangalore. As I said, I like research. I like research in general also. So I went into IIM Bangalore. I was part of Center for Capital Markets. They do research on capital markets in India. That is the first time I got exposed to anything other than engineering in my life.
Okay.
The fact is that because I always liked mathematics and I kind of have always been exposed to doing coding and things like that, it's playing with numbers. Working in capital markets is playing with numbers. You have a lot of numbers, you play with them. It's a very different experience, but I kind of enjoyed the journey also. The stopgap arrangement became like kind of semi-permanent because I wasn't able to find anything else in my field itself. I did not really want to just spend my life teaching. It was personal choice. I don't like just teaching. I like being a part of research. So it was like kind of again became like organic that, I have been in the Center for Capital Markets for a couple of years. I worked on research. I worked on capital markets research in India. So the obvious choice for me, if I really wanted to pursue my career and be in research for the whole of my life, was to choose another PhD in finance because I was already working in it.
That's how this transition happened. Okay.
Yeah. Then I took it to US because the professor I was working with there was from US. As in, he came there visiting, so he kind of encouraged me to come to US and be here, and be a part of the system.
Okay,
so
great.
That was my journey.
Awesome journey. So this is your final year in your PhD program. So you are graduating in 2023.
Yeah.
Okay, how is the job market in America?
Oh, job market in America is very different. First of all, I have to say that there are a lot of options. It's not like very limited. There is something for you. If you're like good enough, there is something for you. It's not, you will not go without a job from here. Having said that, it is very competitive, extremely competitive, because there are many students who come from all over the world to this place to pursue their PhDs, and all of them are competent. They have been the best in their countries to come here.
True.
So you're competing with like really good
best
people.
Of the best.
Yeah. So really more or less the same kind of job. And once you have finished your PhD, it's like the last year of your PhD, you literally are in the job market while writing your thesis, and you're going and giving interviews in different universities.
Mm.
You apply to the universities, that's the first part anyway.
Mm.
And if you're selected for the round, so you go to the first round, and then there's a second round where you actually visit the university, you see the people, you interact the people. Usually it's a 1 day whole process. You
Okay.
go there, you fly there to the university a day before, you have dinner with them. Usually have next day you have to present your paper in the school, and then a half an hour interview with each and everyone uh, in their department, and then you'll have lunch with them. So it's like they do not just assess you based on whether you can do research, they kind of assess you on how are you as a person. Do you fit with them? If you go into their school, does your research and agenda match with theirs? And can you collaborate with people there? Probably, if possible. And do you have the interactive abilities that they look for in a university? So they kind of judge you on various levels, and it's like more like, okay, can we bear this person for the whole of our lives? And
Okay.
that is, I mean, it's also like being in US, I've also realized that it's just not the choice of the university, it's also your choice.
Uh-huh.
You choose whether you want to be in a particular place or not. The
Uh,
choice is the choice, the emphasis on choice is very much in US.
mm.
Like there are people who go to much smaller schools despite having a better option because they feel that this school is a better fit for them. Like right now, if you ask me, my better fit would be a place which can accommodate me, my husband, and my daughter. So the preferences change and the choices become very important.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
but the job market itself is very vibrant. So there is
Mhm.
something for everyone. You just have to be competent and
Yeah.
take it
So
in
it
the right
gives a
speed.
lot of, it gives a lot of hope among Indian students, to Indian
Yes,
students, that there are so many opportunities. America is always a dream place for everyone. So I think there is something for everyone in America.
yes,
So
there is
from
always.
whichever country you come, you'll find your place ultimately. So tell me
Yes,
more about the collaborations and how things happen. So from your experience, if you can talk about how collaborations happen, especially in the finance area, how to go about it. For Indian students, if you have to say 2 3 strategies which talks about how to collaborate with any professor in America.
the main strategy would remain same. You you first talk about your work. Do not question the. Usually, if you're talking about collaboration, I'm talking in the context of an Indian student trying to get into contact with someone who's in US. So usually what happens is do not question their work. I'm not saying that you should never question, at least in the start. You
Mhm.
have to pitch your idea. You say that this is what you're thinking. If it is possible for you, just get the data, see the patterns, talk about it, say that you have seen it, say that there is this possibility that you can explore it much further, and would that person be interested in collaborating.
Mm.
That is the best strategy you can do,
Mhm.
because you have seen the data and you know exactly what is in the data. You have more authority in talking about what you're talking, and the
Mhm.
other person will feel that you're not wasting his time, and he will be impressed that okay, this person has at least done the basic homework, and then he might be interested in listening to you. And if he's really interested, people are very open here, so they collaborate also. But
Mm.
again, please do not take a topic which is very different from the uh, topics that the other person would be interested in, because
Yeah.
for him it might be him is a pronoun I'm using in general sense, him or
Got it.
her.
Mm.
So you have to also think of the topic and the person. Would the person be interested in doing that topic or not?
Mm.
Sometimes people are very open in jumping ships, but many people, if they have pursued one particular kind of agenda in their whole life, you cannot expect them to turn 180 degrees and come in the other
True,
direction.
true. So it
So
means
be
that,
be
so
cautious.
let me think in a way, like you should think of sending a proposal or some write-up after doing certain homework, and then should be aligned with the work of the professor. Yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
prefer. But if you also notice that the professor you're approaching is already in various areas, then it is fine. But if
Okay.
the person has always been in one particular direction, you cannot
Hmm.
expect that person to do
True,
something else because you
true.
wouldn't know the background of it.
Hmm.
And yes, writing, that part is very important. Yes, that part, what you said is correct. If you can write it and put it in words, what you're saying, that's
Hmm.
very, very, very good.
Hmm. Hmm.
Writing part, I can also tell you one more thing. Writing is very important. People do not emphasize this enough. As a researcher, I think you spend most of your time convincing others that your research is relevant and important. So you really need to convey your idea, make sure that the other person feels, oh, this is really special, we should actually look at it. So the only way you can do it is write it well, because that is the main medium through which you convey your ideas or your thoughts or your interesting results to other people. I would also suggest, I'm not sure how much relevant would this be, but I would also suggest people to actually look at books that tell you how to write in social science. I have realized it the hard way that writing is very important. So I really emphasize on writing. I also suggest that you write every day at least for an hour, even if you don't have anything, just to improve your idea. Just you get an idea, write it on the paper. Now that's what I do. You get an idea, just write it on a paper. It's okay. Just type it in your words. Then keep going back to it. That's the most important part. Once you write it and you say, okay, I've written it. No, go back to it. Read it. Do
Hmm.
you really feel that you're conveying your point? Read more research papers. See how they are writing it. It's very important to understand how people are writing and see what are the good things that you can take from another research paper. Just don't read the paper for the results, read the paper for the way they are conveying the results. That is also very important in this process. So if you can write and send it to someone and they feel that okay, this is really interesting, they will obviously come back.
Okay.
That-
Okay,
yeah.
so let me summarize it in a few words. So first of all, we need to design a strategy which professor to approach based on the background they have. And if the background is extremely varied, so we have to fix as per the things which they are doing. And we do not have to expect too much from a professor who is extremely particular about the scope of the work. So we should not be, even the professor is very renowned, so in that case, we can't ask the person to tweak or twist from his or her research area in another space of or another domain. And then we need to write a lot of proposals, maybe proposal in multiple writing ways, so that it can hit the right chord, so that it could reach to the right person and could be understandable by the other person as well.
Yeah.
So very, very relevant points, Ishita. And I am hopeful that when people will listen to you, they will it, have an idea like how to approach to professors in American university. And I have always seen, whenever I used to write, when I was a student, I used to write, I would always get responses from those people. They're very humble and they always give some kind of guidelines, some kind of suggestions if they are not available for my piece, my kind of work, or if even if they are available, they will say that maybe right, it is not the right time or something like that. They will respond. So I'm kind of very much happy from the responses. At least somebody is writing, replying, saying that okay, I'm not there for your kind of work, but still, it we got replies. We get replies from professors. That's very interesting. Next thing, I'm going to move to the next section of our conversation, because this is on International Women's Day. I would like to ask you, as a female scholar in Emory University, how your experience has been. Did you see any difference in treatment in the way the system functions? Tell me from that lens.
I have to be very candid here, but fortunately, I'm not sure if I can generalize the statement that I'm going to make now, but fortunately, I don't really see any difference in the way people in US generally treat women from men. Generally, really, it's a really blanket statement that I'm making, which might sound like very, very nice and beautiful world kind of thing. But the point is, I have not seen generally people differentiating that, oh, you are a woman, you're not supposed to do this, or kind of things like that here in any way. I mean, simple thing I'll say. The reason I'm saying this is very relevant when it comes to the my work also. I mean, like when I go to university, it's very relevant. Simple thing is that you go outside, like women drive, men is sitting in the passenger seat, men are sitting in the passenger. They're completely fine. They don't feel like, oh, I'm the man, I'm supposed to drive. This is a mindset you come from India. Right? Like as a man, you're supposed to drive. Why should a woman not drive? And there's this cliche that okay, women drive very bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, coming from that side to this side, I mean, like, I've seen that. It might seem like very obvious for everyone, but for me, it feels like, okay, they're not questioning it. They're just very okay with it. They don't even question. They just go into the passenger seat and be happy and sit and chat about something the whole way. There is no uh, feeling bad about it or anything. So in that sense, I don't feel that they're like really separating. Maybe if you go into nitty gritties and go very personally into their life and see everyone's life, are they treating the woman in their life better or not? Maybe there are some cases that are bad here also. Obviously there will be cases, there are abuse cases here also. I won't say that everywhere men are very good, but again I have to probably say, okay, that I have to classify my statement basically saying that okay, I have also been in a metropolitan area. Atlanta is a metropolitan city. Atlanta is a proper city with like different cultures, a lot of diversity, and people are very tolerant of the other person. So having been in this kind of culture, I don't see anyone treating me differently. I am given the same status as another man in the same place. So there is no difference I see
Mm-hmm.
anywhere.
Okay.
So that applies to
Happy to
my
hear
school
that.
also.
I'm
Yes.
very happy to hear that.
They are
Uh,
very supportive. They are as supportive to me as they would be for another person who happens to be a man.
okay, so moving to the next question, um, which is around life in general, because you are a mother, your daughter is very small, so you're managing everything according to her time, and your
Yes,
timeline is decided according to her
yes,
situations.
definitely.
So when you become a mother, your life become an autopilot kind of
Yes,
situation. So how do you manage your time? So generally we find it extremely difficult, and I'm
yes.
sure you are also experiencing that difficulty. So how do you in general manage, and what are your strategies which you think that can be useful for women researchers to learn from you?
Okay, probably I don't my strategies are not very good because I'm really bad at managing time. I like bend myself to the extent that I might even break one day that to whatever she says. She wants to go left, I'll move left. That's all. I don't question it at all. So the whole of the morning I kind of spend with her. There is literally like no time that I take out and do something else. I don't say no for anything for her. I might have taken it to an extreme. That's what my mother says, at least. But the point is, I kind of try to work in the nights. Have one night I work, the next night I sleep, the next night I work. So that's how I manage. So I'm not sure exactly how much relevant this would be. But again, having said that and having been a mother, I can also make one more statement that all babies are not same. Some babies give you time to do something for yourself because they don't mind sitting by themselves. But my daughter is like really uh, she just wants someone to be around with her 24/7. So she doesn't like if even if she's just sitting and playing in one place, she wants to see that you're there somewhere next to her.
Mhm, mhm.
So that's my strategy of working, but
Okay.
there are probably better strategies than what I am doing. And yeah, then there is also the problem that we have the COVID exactly at the same time.
Yeah.
So we did not have much help. So that is the other reason.
Okay, I understand that part. COVID has played a very significant role in this particular time management in itself. A lot of time we have to give to our kids because there is no other escape for kids. They can't go to school, they can't do any other activity, they can't meet their friends, they can't go to the
Yeah,
park,
yeah.
they can't go anywhere. So only parents and kids are there. So they have to manage with each other and they have to bear with each other. I think so. Now, moving to the next part of our conversation. So, this is going to be a light-hearted conversation, which is around some fun activity, some fun conversation. Um, because you are in America, so I'll ask you in American context. What is that purchase which you have made under $100 in last 6 months, which has helped you in your research as well as at your home?
Voracious reader. I kind of like books. So, since I remember, the thing that I have enjoyed the most are books. So, if you ask me under $100, the most things that I do are purchase books. Yeah,
Okay.
recently it has been some toys, but they are not related to research. But I have like a million books on million things, and I still do. I'm reading something called Gun Germs and Steel with Jared Diamond right now. So it has got nothing to do with finance as such, but that's like one of the very fascinating books I have read in the recent times. So I mean, like, yeah, you said this is a lighthearted conversation, but I'm going back to research from this. But over time, the one thing I have experienced in my life is reading varied books, not just related to your subject, helps you a lot because it broadens your horizon. Your perspective changes about certain things. Like I was saying in the beginning, it's not just about asking a question, it's about asking the right question. Many of these books that, yes, like the one I just said, mentioned, are based on research. Take Steven Pinker. He writes books, like he writes book about language, he writes books about mind, but all these books are solidly in within the research. I mean, the things that he picks and he tells you are based on research. His arguments are like a person who would want to convince the other person that what he's saying is right, despite the fact that there is like another argument against it. So you, when you read those books, you just get this perspective on how people argue their ideas. You might be like completely against that idea, but are you able to read through it and feel that you're convinced? Because if you don't like the idea, you cannot even read through it. But many of these books, you actually go through it because they've written it so well. That broadening of perspective, I feel, is very important. The same person, me, like 8 years ago, if you asked me, probably I wouldn't have asked a very good question, in the sense that maybe that is not a question that I would want to answer at that particular point in time. But if you ask me now, probably I'm much more better at asking those questions, not just because I'm reading a lot of research papers, also because I read these books. So that my prized possessions always will be the books I buy. I also buy a lot on Kindle, especially now that my daughter doesn't let me hold a book in the hand. I have books on Kindle, so it's easier
Okay.
for me to read.
Okay.
So
I was about to I'll ask, like, do you enjoy reading on physical books or
no, I'm
Kindles?
universal. I just
Okay.
need words. I just need words framed properly in some format. I can
Okay.
read through it. That has always been my extremely
Okay.
happy. Get very happy when I can buy a book.
Okay. Okay. So, can you recommend 2 or 3 books for our audience to pick and read? And I
Okay.
always
So,
take these advices very seriously because I immediately after such conversations I go and buy the books, buy these
oh,
books.
okay.
Recently I did that.
Okay. Fact is that I kind of read like a lot of different subjects. So I can also recommend like What is DNA? There
Hmm.
is also a book by Schrodinger, What is Life? It's a very small book, okay? Like very, very thin book. I mean, Schrodinger is a physicist, by the way. So, a physicist writing a book on what is life, you might think that by the title it is philosophical, but read through the book, you felt like, okay, he talks about genes and everything in that, and those are some things that were not even known by the time when he was writing that book. So that book I find very, very fascinating.
Okay. Okay.
I'm a very huge fan of Steven Pinker, so I read like most of his books. But my favorite has till now has been Blank Slate.
Okay.
I feel that arguments in that book I kind of like. He takes the other perspective and then argues against it and things like that. So
Okay.
that way I like it. I generally recommend Steven Pinker, but that's my favorite, personal
Okay.
favorite.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, okay, to more relevant to finance, probably if you're really interested, like
Yeah, please do let us know.
Irrational Exuberance by Robert Schiller. There's also a book by Amir Sufi, House of Debt. This is about the financial crisis in the housing market during that time, but this is very particular to that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, in finance, what else can I recommend? I'm not sure. It's been I have like a lot of books. If you're kind of interested in the Wall Street, there is also a book by Non-Random Walk in the Wall Street. So that is also a nice book. It's more slightly more technical though, and like
Okay.
I mean, he goes into the math of it and things like
Okay.
that. But yeah, that's a nice book to read.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay.
Um, I can actually send you a list of good books
I
and
would love to if you can send us a link of books, maybe in your interview after that section.
actually.
We will list down all those
Like I was
recommendations by
mentioning, the
you.
one I was reading right now, that the book I'm reading right now is Gungeons and Steels. That is also really, really, really
Uh-huh.
amazing. He
Uh-huh.
talks about
I would
geography.
love to have the list
Yeah,
from
sure.
you. That will be very
Send
helpful to
me
the
the list.
audience, especially the finance scholars and in general scholars like me as well. So I want to thank you, Ishita, for taking time out. I know Anita is around, but she is waiting for you. And mother, where are you? Kind of feeling she must be having now. So I'll not hold you for long. And I want to thank you for taking time out for us and sharing. You shared so many great insights, which are going to be helpful to many scholars who are willing to come to America and pursue their research. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm really, really, really glad to be here. I have really enjoyed my conversation with you. I have to say that I really had fun being
Great.
here. Thank you for inviting me.
It's great to see you all here. Thank you for watching our work. If you have not subscribed to Import Hub Media, then please hit the bell icon and subscribe to our channel and support research celebrations in India.